In my last couple of videos, I talked about how leadership is about love, about relating, and why relational intelligence is so important as we expand our capacity to lead. Now, what does all this have to do with being a transformational leader? If you think about it as a transformational leader, as a leader of transformation in your organization, you essentially have three jobs, right? One, you get to update the operating system of your organization, how you do things, right? You get to update the business model, you get to update processes, you essentially get to update how you do things around here. Now that requires a culture of experimentation and innovation, right? So you have to have that second job of creating a culture where it's okay to make experiments, right? Where people are inspired to make experiments happen, where they feel part of a bigger vision that allows them to understand why this transformation is even happening in the first place. Now, to do that, to have this kind of culture, you need different kind of people. Because most people that work in organizations today are trained for the age of the factory, right? There's standard operating procedures, right, for being very clear on how you do something every day, right? There's job descriptions, there's very clear boxes in which we put people in order to make this age of optimization ultimately efficient. Now, in a stage of optimization that works, right? But in a stage of experimentation that doesn't work so well, right? So you need to actually have not just new skills as an employee, we need to vertically shift into relational intelligence. And this matters even more in the age of AI now, right? Because our technology has already reached that level of enlightenment of being rational, right? Most AI, like ChatGPT, for example, is more, reasonable and more rational than most humans are, right? Because it's an algorithm. It doesn't have feelings, it doesn't have physical intelligence, it doesn't have these other aspects that we have as humans. So on that rational mental level, it's already beating most humans, and now it's beginning to mimic relational intelligence, right? But it's not actually relating to you. It feels like that, it sounds like that, it might, even inspire you to think that there's somebody there, but there's nobody home, right? And this is the same problem with a lot of people who are still in that socialized phase. They're still externally driven, right, rather than intrinsically motivated and internally driven, authentic, right, self-doing, is the original meaning of the word authentic. Right? So we need to have authentic people. So your job as a transformation leader, if you want to create new organizational operating systems and the cultures that create those, you actually need to focus on people first, right? And really updating them. And it's a vertical development shift. It's not just about upskilling or learning some AI skills or something like that. It's really about how we look at ourselves, right? And you might have already done this work as a leader, otherwise you might not have gotten to the position where you're at. But as a leader now of transformation, you actually get to become self-transformational. Right? And this is the very top % of people out there in terms of adult development that can actually do that, who can shift who they are in order to become somebody new, in order to become what the situation requires. And so this is your invitation as a transformation leader, is to not just be self-offering, right, but to actually move into the level of becoming self-transformational so that you can indeed lead transformation, because any systemic transformation is always also personal transformation. So you get to A, make that transformation happen for yourself, and B, then guide other people in their transformation as well. Right? And so this is why it's so important that you understand this concept of relational intelligence, because that's what we need today from our workforce. And according to my colleague Rob Keegan, only 65% of people actually 65% of people are not on that level yet. Only 35% are on that self-offering level. So your job is to update your workforce, starting with yourself, right? And so use this whole holiday time, use the time off to really reflect, who do you want to become in 2025? Right? Because there's this idea of be, do, have, right? That we want things, we want to have certain things. And most of the time people can think about that. They can maybe think about what they have to do, the actions they need to take to get there, but who they need to be, right? That's the key, right? In our world at Lumen, we call that IAO, Identity, Actions, Outcomes, right? Starting with identity. Who do I get to be in 2025? So take this opportunity, take the holidays, take the respite from the normal daily life for a moment to really let that sink in and think about who you want to become next year. What's your next big edge of development and growth? Where can you transform yourself so you can be a transformational leader? And if you need help with that, we do this at Lumen all the time. We work with a lot of leaders to help them not just up-level themselves, but up-level their people so they can create new cultures of innovation and ultimately transform their organization to a new operating system. So for now, take the time off. Don't think about your work too much. Regenerate. If you want some tips on that as well, there's a download on the website right now called RegenU. You can download a whole PDF with some tips for regeneration, including some audio meditations that I recorded for you. So take the time off. Have a fantastic holiday season and a great start to 2025.